Hey, I want to invite you guys, if you've been listening to this podcast and enjoying this content and are passionate about protection, you should know that we have an entire library of all of the Protector Symposiums that we've ever done, hosted at protectornation.com. You can go there and you can download those and you can watch every Protector Symposium we've had to date there online, and you can learn protection tactics from some of the most elite trainers in the world from the comfort of your own home. I think you'll be surprised about how much content we actually have there. It's very, very, very reasonably priced, and you can upgrade your protection skills. Remember, protection is not all about the hard skills. 90% of it is all about the software, the programming, the way you see and move in the world to achieve a safer pattern of life. With that having been said, go to protectornation.com, join us there, and learn from the best of the best. Now, enjoy the show. Boom! What's going on, guys? So for this podcast, I want to do something special. Once again, I'm always trying to do something special. This episode is going to give you an in-depth view of part of the Protector Symposium 6.0. We're going to let you guys see some of the on hands-on portion and different glimpses of what we did at this last Protector Symposium 6.0 apocalypse. This event was all about what we're dealing with in the world: survival tactics, tactical, kinetic, centric tactics, all the madness, and it was an amazing and beautiful event. This content you're about to see is accessible inside the Civilian Protector Project. So if you enjoy this type of stuff, go to protectornation.com, get in the Civilian Protector Project, learn from some of the best in the world, and get on our live Zoom calls, get consultation. We're here to make the world a safer place by helping good people to become more willing, capable, prepared, and yes, it's, when it's appropriate, more dangerous. Enjoy the episode. Boom!
What would be an arm movement in the structure? You come awake at 3 a.m., you're not sure what's going on, you're kind of sleepy, you got a bladder full of piss, trying to figure out what's happening, came out of a deep, deep, deep sleep. Boom, you hear a noise, you're a little more awake. You fumble over and you grab a Glock 43 and you try and figure out what's going on in that house. That would be a armed movement in the structure. You're in public space, Walmart, Target, whatever else, walking with a toddler, wife, girlfriend, daughter, whoever, maybe it's your grandchild, and you hear rounds, cack off. Nobody knows where the source of fire is at. People are running everywhere, and you have no desire to engage with that person, but what you want to do is move safely out of that structure with those people that you care about. That would be an armed movement in a structure, okay? So that's ubiquitously the title I use to cover a variety of movements and missions, okay? And it gets away from the vision that people have of being jocked up in plates and kit with nods, assaulting a room. You will see in a global meta way some crossover between Orthodox military CQB and what we're doing in a very broad sense. In probably the best analogy I can make is comparing traditional military CQB to what we're doing is kind of like comparing rugby to MMA. The greater the distance one has from a plane of visual impediment, the greater the field of view beyond the plane with less movement required to identify a problem. To a large extent, this will dictate route. The driver here is always seek depth or distance. So if you look at what we got going on here, okay? We're equidistant from a vertical line of visual impediment, okay? Now without like bobbing or weaving or anything like that, just kind of let your nose line up on this. Look at that line and tell me what you can see of me.
See half your body.
Half my body, okay. So right now we have equal distance or depth on this vertical plane. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open the distance up and I want to see, and I'm going to keep my toe in line with hers. I'm not going to move inboard or anything like that, but I want to see what the distance that I take from here does to what she can see of me. All right, so I'm going to move straight back. Okay. Ashley, what can you see of me?
Very edge, your arm, your leg, very edge of your body.
I love how precise he is.
What can you see of me now?
Your shadow.
My shadow, okay. Can you see any part of me that's outside of my shadow?
No.
Okay. I want everybody to look from Ashley's toes, through her calf, her thigh, and her arm. Just stand still.
Oh wow, you can see her now. Don't shoot me.
Ashley, do you see me?
No, sir.
Okay.
Ooh, superpowers.
So, let me ask you something. Relax. If you're moving through interior space by yourself, okay, no support, how important do you think it is to identify someone, see someone before they see you? It's probably extremely important. Okay. So this is what I mean, that depth or distance from things that you can't see kind of dictate route, and it tells you where you should be in the room. What he's done is he's gone inside the mom and pop convenience store, cacked a few rounds off, and run out. So the call is a 211 man with a gun.
Okay. Off a fight.
Here's what you're going to see. You're going to see law enforcement arrive up here around 11 o'clock, 2 police officers. They're going to kind of walk by. The clerk does one of these. The fight happens in 1, 2, 3 parking spaces.
Wow.
Okay, that's where the fight happens. I'm going to play this a couple of times, okay, and then I'm going to ask you observations. Okay, so let's watch this carefully and closely. And I know it's grainy video, it's a small screen. Okay, there he is. He knows the police are showing up. He doesn't know from where. He wanders back and forth. Where they at? Where they're coming. And you can see our police officers peeking around the corner. 2 of them.
No, he's got him. Speed.
Oh wow, speed.
Yep.
Closing the gap.
Hello.
Okay, let's watch that again. Watch carefully. Again, this is 18 years ago. Okay. There he is. You see the cruiser right here. Okay. You see them get out. He's looking. Clerk signals police officers. They come around the corner. He's looking for them.
We stepped right into it.
Okay, so the result of this is one of those police officers killed, the other one is shot and taken out. The way this resolved is it goes into a manhunt. Dude barricades himself, ends up sticking the barrel in his mouth, toes the trigger, does a Hemingway, and that's that, all right? So you watched it twice here. Observations on any actions by either party. Throw it out there.
When the officers were engaged, they backed up, and that's when he closed the distance.
Okay.
He had more distance, so
Yep.
he was able to see them first before they could see him.
Okay. What else?
Looked like he was providing cover fire as he was moving,
Okay.
using that distance.
What else? Throw it out there.
I think the officer was exposed in the line of sight for him to shoot and shoot.
What else?
He cut the corner. The officer cut the corner, whereas
He didn't round it, didn't pie it. He just
Yeah.
didn't pie it.
Okay. What else?
He was fast moving.
Yeah, he closed that distance.
What else?
He had a rifle there, I know.
What else?
The 3 parking spots.
3 parking spots, right?
Have you ever been in a room that's been, rounds have gone through it and fucking asbestos and dust is everywhere? If you think you're gonna be able to breathe clearly, you're wrong. Having a cough as you're trying to move surreptitiously through a room, do not get shot? No, not a good thing. I always carry a bandana with me. A bandana and water is sometimes enough, you know? A piece of cloth is something traditionally carried by every single culture on the planet. You know, he has one of those. You go to Oaxaca and they use them to carry their kids in the back. And you go to, my mom used to carry around a paliacate, which is basically a bandana for keep the tortillas warm. They turn it into a tourniquet for a kid that slices her arm open. A bunch of stuff. So a piece of cloth is a thing you can utilize. How about a military gas mask? You want to carry one of those?
No, you don't.
I mean, it'll provide a whole narrative to you that might be far from what you want. But what about a construction one? There's some pretty good ones that are specifically meant for the industrial complex, for the industrial uses, that don't come with the tactical colors and come with colors that are very generic and they look like something that belongs in a factory. That's what I roll with. Write a sonnet. We've written a sonnet before. No? I don't have English as a first language, but I've been writing a lot and I posted up on my Instagram account many times.
What's a sonnet? Not something.
Poem.
Yeah, well, I've written.
Yeah. I write a lot, and it's something I've been learning to do a lot, specifically just because of the fact that if you don't know how to write your reality is nebulous.
Share your reality.
Yeah.
It's vague. It's very that vagueness
Yeah.
is open to a lot of things coming into it.
And you can canonize it, you can crystallize it, it can outlive you. You can articulate it on paper.
Yeah. All biographies are bullshit. If you think about it. Why? It's us trying to look into the past to make sense of it. In my biography, I'm not going to put the fact that I was spent 2 hours in that bathroom shooting my brains out.
No, I'm gonna put it in mine.
It's gonna put it in there's certain things that happen to us that make no sense, but the things that do make sense are important. That's what we focus on. And if you don't know how to write those down, though, they're nebulous, and you don't have any definition. I like really kind of focusing on that. There's a bunch of them that I like. Building a wall is pretty funny. Setting a bone. And I'll say this, comforting the dying.
Yep.
I've been in that position many times, so many times to kind of, many times. You two are friends, right? What would you do if he was bleeding out in front of you and you knew he was going to die?
Do exactly that. Try to comfort him.
How? Things are around you. If you
This
look
is
at
legit. Pay super close attention to this part, especially if you're looking to exploit or not be exploited.
Yeah. What's the commonality between all the numbers on these phone boxes?
2, 4, 5, 9, 16.
That's to an address?
What?
Is that to an address?
Maybe.
So all of them have a 0 in there, and that's where the camera lens was installed.
Oh.
Zero.
They just discovered a network of these all over Tijuana. The reason I post that share that video, I posted that on my Instagram account, and people went nuts.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you showing people out of bodies disappearing?
See it.
Well,
I've been trying to
first
do that.
off, this comes from a TikTok account that is science-based for kids. My point with sharing stuff like that is that
10-year-olds learning on TikTok.
my point with sharing
Get
stuff
rid
like
of your
that is
ass.
that people freak out with the information if it's presented in a certain way. If I say it,
It's evil.
evil. if they put it on TikTok for kids, I mean, I have a TikTok account, but it's no way. But this is basically showcasing body disposal.
Where do you get a sulfuric acid like that? Like in America?
You can order it online.
You can order it online?
It's not a restricted thing, so you can figure that out. I'm not here to restrict it.
Because like Drano has it.
Yeah, or you can just learn how to make caustic soda.
You can buy sulfuric acid. You can have it. It'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah, but again,
You send it to your
it's nothing secret, but people freak out as far as how it's presented. So one thing I'll say is whatever you do and whatever you research, it always depends on how you're presenting it and how you're researching it.
Right.
Yeah, so you want to get on the list, you will get on the list probably.
You're already on.
You're already on the list.
You're here, you're on the list.
But it's fine. The main thing is if you like all this information is out there. You know, it's open source. If you ask the right questions, if you look at them in the right way, you can use them for all the wrong reasons. You know, if I teach you how to drive a car, you can either drive a car for Uber or you can run over a bunch of people. The enemy is learning constantly. You know, when I say the enemy could be whatever you want to make it. For me, I live a life where I fought a lot of people. I did that for a long time, and now I'm trying to make sense of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what did it mean? You know, why? For a long period, and actually going through my therapy, I had guilt behind me, like all that shit, like why? You know. But then you start figuring out that it had to be you going through it. When I was talking to Byron on the podcast, Byron was in front of me and he was speaking about his story. And it's hearing his story, you know, all he went through, some of the struggles he went through from being a kid to trying to figure out his growing up and some of the issues he had as far as trying to belong and all that. It's like, holy shit, I went through some of that shit too. And going into the military and figuring that shit out and getting blown up and all that, I went through some of it too. And now seeing him where he is and just realizing, hey, Byron, you couldn't be who you are right now if all that shit didn't happen to you.
Yeah.
So you can curse it, you can be sad about it, you can be depressed about it, or you can realize that it had to be you.
You cannot do it.
You know, whatever's coming, realize that whatever you're doing, if you're here, but in the future, if the moment comes and they knock on your door, if they try and pull your kid out of the window, that's when you realize, oh, it had to be you.
Yeah.
So one of the best things I did was I came up with, I call it a clock system, but it's based off of an elbow escape, or commonly known as a shrimp. Does anybody here know, besides, of course, you do, how to elbow escape or shrimp on the ground? You guys know what I'm talking about, where you see people move like this? Who does not know how to do that? Everybody knows, okay. Okay, so basically the rule is your lower body part, whichever foot, put pressure down, that's the way your hips go. So if I push my left foot down, I want to bring my hips to my left. Okay, but notice the upper body doesn't move. That's the key, everybody. You want to be able to turn your body into the letter C. So you want to bring your feet closer to your booty, okay? And you get a good leverage. So like air hockey, you elevate off the ground and you just swing out. Just swing out. So I'm going from my shoulder blade to my shoulder muscle. I'm not rolling over. You're gonna wanna roll over. Don't roll over. You have to clear the ground and swing out to get on your side. So all you're gonna do is you protect yourself. And by the way, you notice, what am I teaching? Gracie Jiu-Jitsu would teach him to hook a half guard, maybe get me in the guard, close the distance, go to you know what I'm saying? But now you're engaged in a grappling fight, and we don't necessarily want that.
Right.
Or if you need your team back up on your feet to get to the principal's family or whatever, let's go. So hip away.
Hip away.
Good freeze.
Bumps.
Now when you bring this up, use that foot to slide your upper body back. Freeze, good. Now if you can just extend this and go to sit, freeze, fucking perfect. Now let's say I'm leaning in, you got a hammer fist right there, boom, roundy, boom, good. Bring it across, you have a leg push kick, boom, Now put this on the ground, right? And hip away until that's locked out. Hip away, you move back. I know you can push me, but now don't point your calf. Flex your toes. Yeah. Need a chin, you have a push kick, right? You can deploy a weapon from there, what have you. Good, again please, perfect. So it starts here, and we're not gonna do this, but it'll get to where if I'm on putting like this and I'm sitting up, go, just play the game. He gets here, he gets freeze. No, yeah, Jesus. Sorry. That's all right.
There's some horsepower.
Got it for training, yeah. But see what you're starting to open up. We don't want that. Here's why. You want to be on your side more if you can.
Okay.
And that's from the original hip out. Because psychologically, people will not swing down here. You eliminate, I'm telling you this from experience. They want to come up over the top. When you start opening up your chest, psychologically, now I see both sides. You want me to, because even if I do this, you got the kick, will beat me, or put that down on the ground for a second, take your top hand, just point towards me like that. Even if the punch, relax, sails, it'll sail. You guys have seen that in UFC. Don't chase the punch, just protect the target. Big difference in thought process of defense. So you're the principal, right? I'm like, sir, and you push. You have them shoot. No, just go right through the triangle. Yes. And you can I would do overlap. And so 1, 2, and 3 are going to break the grid. Now you disengage. Next guy comes in and moves on. Now, the other thing too is, I'm going to use you in a second. You get the guy who won't let go of your hand. Oh, it's been such a pleasure. So again, pull. When I pull, shoot the triangle. You shoot the triangle. Yeah, tap. Yeah. That's how you get them to let go. So they're here like this. It's simple. So if you won't let go of my hand, I'm doing this. I pull, you pull back. No, I'm just going to go through and break your grip for you. Just like a dog bite. Instead of ripping out, just push through. It's just right through the triangle. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so check this out. So let's say I'm escorting Allie in a way that men shouldn't grab a woman, right? Walking like this. All you're going to do is you're going to step forward your right leg, which puts you into a left fighting stance, and you're going to do the overlap entry. Okay, so we're walking ambush to self-defense. That means you're going to go with me for a couple steps. When you act like you're scared, you're agreeing, their mental and physical defensive faculties will drop a little bit. They will. If they think they're getting their way, they're going to relax a little bit more. That's human nature. So if right away, the biggest risk of most intensity is on first contact, because they're expecting a quick response. So are you guys. If you're good guys, you're expecting that first grab to be the moment. When it's not the moment, there's almost like a loose wire, like, whoa, they didn't fight. All right, fuck it. So then they're going. So we're going to walk forward. You're going to step forward and do an arm overlap entry. Overlap. Boom, tap, tap. Good. Overlap is not interlock, right, guys and girls? Yeah, perfect. Let's do it again. So if we're walking, all you do is you go with me. So now I kind of relax. You do an overlap entry. Steer the car. Boom. Pull my elbow into the butt. Tap. Perfect. Zero resistance. You're doing the most you're going to do is walking up here. That's the most effort I want from you. Okay? All right. So on my go, Byron knows what he's going to do. All I'm going to do is I'm going to call things out.
We're going to hit this
and
time.
You're going to do them. That's all. Okay? All right. Go. All right. So do the handshake entry, please. Yep. Reset, please. Arm drag entry. Good. You go towards them. Don't pull them to you. Okay, Mike, give me hands on hips for ease of learning. Overlap entry, please. Overlap entry. Good, easy, good. C-clamp entry. Nope, go through the triangle and go to the neck. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Good. And then Mike, walk in and give me frame to C-clamp. So you frame his chest, remember? You go through the triangle. So you frame, go through the triangle also. Boom, good, okay. So now Mike, you do them, okay? So do handshake entry. Good. Reset. Do arm drag entry, please. Good. Reset. Do overlap entry, please. No, shoot through. Shoot through. And overlap your hand. Yep, easy, easy, good. Just the entry. Do C-clamp entry, please. So it goes through and gets to the neck. Go through and to the neck, C-clamp. Yep. And then, right? And then you're going to walk at him and do the frame. So get off the X, frame, go through, C-clamp. Yep, don't blade your body. Good. And time.
Clap.
What was the total?
1 minute, 22 seconds.
1 minute and 22 seconds for both parties to go through the 5 modes of entry engagement. Did I rush either of you? Did I stress, say, hurry up, go? We corrected them, we did them, we took our time. It took 1 minute 22. If you practice these 5 MOEs where you know them inside out, upside down, you practice the other 3 letters, which is grip manipulation, windshield wiper arm drag, and swimming and pummeling. You practice those things over and over. 5 minutes is the most you need to practice hand to hand. and you're literally practicing a concept. That's it. Then one day you show up early for shift, and you can do all wrist grabs. So grab me by the wrist. I can do arm drag and do boom, grab me across. I can do direct through, boom, grab me 2 hands. Right, I can do arm drag through, boom, grab me by the elbow. Right, no, you grab me by the elbow like the escort. Right, I can shoot through, boom.
A sweatshirt, right? What I would do is I would fold this to the size of her forearm, and then I roll it up. See that? As tight as possible, okay? That may be a little short for your forearms, right? So I can use a soft splint. This may be a little short where I would just, in the field I would just redo it, right? But this, see, it doesn't bend at all now, right? So this would support, I'd make this a little longer forearm, this would support that arm. So you can soft splint, right? But only in certain instances, and it has to be done just right. It is a lot simpler to splint with something like this. Now, if I just have, so like in the house, right? I have a couple things like this, right? I don't have a SAM splint or nothing, air splint, what have you, right? I can take this, I can wrap it in the towel if I want, but I'll have the most padding if it's below. I roll up, I just one fold on this towel, right? Now I have my roll of quarters, right? Or roll of nickels, whatever. So I have her grip this. Now she's in the position to function with a padded splint, okay? So whenever it's just you and one patient alone, always try to incorporate them in their own treatment, in their own rescue. That is always recommended. It is better for both of you if you do that. Now, does anybody know the definition of shock? Inadequate, yes, can I spell it please? So it is inadequate perfusion to sustain life. Sometimes I say inadequate perfusion to the brain, right? Because you're not dead till your brain dead, right? So, and perfusion is oxygen-rich blood flow. Therefore, if you have any signs and symptoms of shock, right? We usually recognize shock by we see the compensations for it. So the heart rate, often the heart and breath rate will speed up. Why would they do that? Because it's trying to get oxygen-rich blood flow, right? And you may see the person turn pale. For what we have is blood shunting. So the body says, hey, I need to focus my blood flow around the internal organs in the brain to keep this person alive. So then the blood recedes from everywhere else. So you see them pale, right? So they're pale and cool, right? There's no blood flow to the surface of the skin. And they'll often get a bit of almost like an adrenaline dump in their body, and it causes them to sweat. So pale, cool, diaphoretic, that's a big 3 signs for shock, right? The skin signs. Pale, cool, diaphoretic, so pale, cool, slimy, spread up, increased heart rate, increased breath rate. And once we see any signs of shock, you have to act quickly because what we call the crash can happen at any time. Those compensation mechanisms can seemingly fail all at once, and then we start to get no heart rate, we start to get no breath rate, right? So that's why, so it's oxygen-rich blood flow, right? So that's why learning to run an O2 tank is really important, right? For just about anything, if you go in an ambulance, for just about anything, they'll put oxygen on you, right? Because that's for perfusion. Someone's having a heart issue, even a diabetic issue, if they've had blood loss, anything, right? They're going to run O2 on you. And believe it or not, it's a 2-hour certification course. We're not going to do the full certification course. I just want to show you how easy it is to set up an oxygen tank.
Do not touch the patient. Analyzing heart.
Also, when you jostle someone, that can kind of change the heart rhythm. So they want to analyze the rhythm, and they don't want you to get shocked.
Do not touch the patient. Press the flashing shock button. Shock delivered. Begin CPR.
And it'll give you the metronome, right?
10.
So this has feedback, so you will hear the click if you went deep enough, and you'll feel it,
20.
right? Just like this, you'll hear a click. Sometimes. There you go. When you have the airway open, and also you'll see the rise and fall of the chest, right? And if you can hit that 100 times, if it's not a shockable rhythm, it's not going to deliver it.
Is there an age limitation on these?
They have child pads.
They have
They have child pads. Now, if you don't have child-sized pads, what you will do is you will put it right over the chest here.
Now
and then one on the back there. Okay. So you want to build your system for what you know you're going to be charging, right? So a system like this here, this is for household items. So we have the brownouts in California, right? Where they're like, oh, we got to save energy, so we're going to turn off your power. So if I just went to Costco and I got 50 pounds of meat in the fridge and all, 5 gallons of milk, whatever, I don't want to lose that all now. So I have a powerful inverter and a powerful battery that can keep something like a fridge going, right? Or I can have a small, even more portable setup for lighter, smaller options, like I just got to keep some medications cool while I'm on the run, right? So I have something like this, right? A little portable cooler, maybe 10 pounds of meat in there or whatever to take with me, right? So it depends on what you plan on powering. And the formula for this, and you may want to picture this slide, is you need to know your amp, watt, and voltage needs. 120 volt is standard household US power supply. 12 volt for recreational vehicles. So your RVs, all 12 volt appliances, house 120. So when if we're making a bug out kit, right, we're gonna power stuff on the move, we like the 12 volt stuff because it requires 1/10 of the power to stay running, okay? Smaller consumption. It's, we can consider, voltage and amp hours when we're talking about power generation, conversion, and storage devices. So your solar panels, right? Your inverter, your battery, and watts. We measure watts in the power consuming devices. So for a refrigerator, right? How many watts does it need? And we'll know if our power supply can give out enough watts by knowing the voltage and amp hours that they're rated for, okay? So we are demonstrating a 12 volt, 100 amp hour battery on this course. So to figure out the watt hours, we multiply that together. So it's 12 volts, 100 amp hours, that gives us 1200 watt hours. System like. So this is a 120 watt inverter. Yeah. So just the one battery may be a little bit limited on time, but I can power any household appliance with this for several hours. Or a series of smaller appliances, right? So if I just have if I just want to plug in, say my laptop, my wireless, my Wi-Fi, right? And a small cooler, I'll run all day, no problem.
Nice.
Right?
Can I daisy chain it with some more batteries?
Yeah, you definitely can. So you can run the batteries in line. You can have one battery charging out in the sun and one battery being used, right? It's another reason why I like the lithium batteries. They're just so much lighter. They're just so much lighter and more portable.
Over the Marine?
Yeah, because so it's way more expensive. It's
what do they run it?
So I think this one was 350, 400, right? But the Marine ones be a little bit cheaper, but the Marine ones are almost double the weight. And this is already pretty, so it's worth it.
Shelf life and storage?
So that's another thing is batteries will discharge when they're sitting around a little bit. Lithiums discharge way less. Nice. Way less when they're not in use. And you know what? It's so easy. So now when you see that, you know that guy's badass. Right? He's got all the preps in there too. He's got the freeze-dried meals. He's got plenty of ammo. He's
movie traps.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. He's got pig traps all around the house.
He shared it with all his friends.
Thinking about this for a while.
Shotgun shells everywhere, right? Microclimates. So the human body needs a microclimate below 72 degrees, right? And when the wet bulb, whatever, so a certain level of hot and humid gets together, like wet bulb of 97 or something like that, it begins to get untenable for us, right? So if we do want our portable shelter, okay, we want to be able to set up our own little, the domicile's no good, I got to bug out, I don't want, you could be in a situation, so I remember in some of the fires in San Diego when large areas were evacuated, all hotels were sold out for miles and miles and miles, right? Or if you have a large event, whatever, you want to turn it to a camp out or whatever the reason, right? If you want a portable domicile, okay, you have two options. For something small, easy, like camping style,
If you want a tent like that, you don't get a regular 3-season tent, you get what's called a 4-season tent. You ever been camping, you wake up and there's condensation all in the tent? Yes. Right, when it's colder? So 4-season, that won't happen because it is double walled. Okay, also, have you ever been camping, it's in high winds and the tent's like hitting you in the fucking face, it's like bending over, right? So the 4-season tent, it's meant to withstand snowpack and high-speed winds. So you're not gonna have the collapse, right? So it's nothing that's gonna tear apart and make a bad situation already, which you're already staying in a tent and now it's fucked, right? And if we need to cut a fence, if we need to get through chain link to access one of these frontage roads, we're not gonna drive for miles looking for the gate. Right. We cut at the pole, okay? Yep. So that way we only have to cut once. There's a million little of these, right? Right. So we get all the way down and then we roll it back to the next pole. And they're always at least 10 feet apart, right? So now I roll it back, I carabiner it, whatever, right? Put a zip tie on it, and now I can get my convoy through there, and I don't have to sit there for 20 minutes doing 2 sections, right? So we cut at the pole. So we would do that with fire, right? If we had to get through our vehicles through for fire, we cut at the pole, we pull it back, and then when we're done, we can roll it back and put some zip ties or whatever at it. So like with barbed wire fences, we had something like that too, so people's cattle and stuff didn't get out. We would cut like here, 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 and then when we left, we would exit, make X's out of it to make sure that the guy's cattle didn't get out.
Boom! Quick shout out to our sponsor, Staccato. My first pistol sponsor. I've been sponsored by a lot of companies, right, over the years. But when it comes to pistol, that's my bread and butter. Pistol is something I believe in. You know, I'm a competitive shooter. You know, we're shooting anywhere from, 800 rounds a month type of thing, right? So Staccato, being what I believe, is one of, if not the most complete handguns you can put in your hand. It's got every component that a handgun could have, should have. They're actually extremely dependable now that they've made some changes, and these things are straight up tack drivers. If you're looking for a pistol that will do as much of the work for you as a piece of hardware can, obviously you have to have the marksmanship and all the different things, but different guns perform at different levels. And I want to say that Staccato is one of, by far, for sure, take it from a competitive shooter, we're shooting the highest volumes of rounds constantly right now. Not used to have a background guy, but like right now, when you go shoot, you're gonna see certain brands. Staccato is one of, if not the highest performing firearm that is both CCW, duty ready, and also competitive ready. So I want to give them a shout out. If you guys are looking for a good handgun to build your skills on top of, go check out Staccato. Much love and respect. Yo, if you enjoyed that episode and you like learning things like that, I want to encourage you to go to Protector Nation, build a profile, get in the Civilian Protector Project. This is where you can learn from these guys, live Zoom calls. You can see the full modules that you just watched, and you can become part of a community. It's the first social media platform for protectors where we can get to know each other, we can network, we can learn together. We do live Zoom calls with different SMEs every single month. There's so much packed in there. I'm in there. It's an honor, it's a privilege. Looking forward to working together to make the world a safer place by helping good people to become more willing, capable, and prepared. Protector Nation, Civilian Protector Project, let's go.